So Manni, talk me through why you built this. Why this location? I know. Well, let everyone know because I think people know that obviously you bought the house next door. But what made you use this space to build this house?
Well, it was an infill plot, as you know, and it was part of a sustainable location with the obviously closeness onto Caversham High Street itself, effectively. We thought there was a great opportunity to actually, build a beautiful house here. And because I was so passionate about trying to build something more sustainable, I thought, well, why don't we start with this one house, do a ground up development in the space that we thought was ideal for this sort of house, and we'll then have a proof of concept for sustainable living, and then we can use that and maybe create bigger developments with the timber technology, with the air source heat pump. And we also wanted to have a sort of proof of concept where we know what the costs are involved, and now that having done it, we can then take this exact same technology, same sort of method, and go and build bigger and much bigger schemes using this.
And with the council, how did they receive this sort of this? Did they look at the eco aspect of what you're doing? Because from the outside, this house looks like all the other houses on the street. I mean, you would have think this house has been here
Forever.
5, 10, 20 years because it's so similar. And I would assume that's due to the council wanting to look similar, or is that what you wanted to achieve?
No, definitely to do with the council wanting the exact street scene. The character of the property had to retain, as you said, it looks like it's always been here.
Yeah.
So yes, initially we did have planning refused in 2016, and that was to do with a number of objections, as you do from NIMBYs in the area. However, we then went back a few years later in 2022 with a much better scheme, I would say so, and taking into account all the objections and all the comments from the refusal that the council had given in terms of overlooking, closeness to the other houses and all of that. And we created, I would say, a more better, maybe slightly smaller footprint, but keeping in line with the character of this street scene, but also being kind to all the neighbours and in terms of overlooking and everything.
So this means you've put years into this build. I mean, you've put your heart and soul into it. And I think one thing that we need to sort of, and I stress and emphasise when people look at the property, is the absolute high detail of finishes of this house. That every time someone comes in, it's just, you see all the little bits within this, and and the person looking around the house actually sees that and actually goes, yeah, I can see exactly what she wants to do.
Absolutely. I'm really passionate about building good quality houses for the local community, and whether that's for rental or for selling, I want to provide a good quality house for whoever and then ends up living in it, whether that's a family, a young family with maybe 1 or 2 younger kids, a professional, a couple, even downsizers because of the vicinity and the car parking that goes with it, because it probably is the second house on the street apart from the one next door, which is mine as well, that's got on the drive car parking spaces. So although it's tandem, we've got 2 car parking spaces, and I think that's great as well because the rest of the houses just got off street.
And I've seen this, the people who have viewed, we've had quite a few people through the door, and they have been that range, exactly what you're talking about. I've had downsizers. I had a lady I went to see who's got a 5-bedroom house, wanting to downsize and have somewhere close to town. And I'm getting a lot of young families who are selling up in the area on roads just near here with 2 beds, wanting the 3 beds, but they wanted the easiness of being into the street. So, I think it's a multifunctional home for either or, and the parking makes it amazing. And then let's talk about the actual heating of this house, because I think we've talked about how the building keeps the house warm, but let's talk about how we're heating this house, because there's a couple of things here. One thing is the air source heat pump, but also the heating downstairs, and the tech that's involved in this as well, that the fact it can be managed and maintained anywhere in the world, basically.
So yes, I mean, in terms of the air source heat pump, what it technically does, I'm not, a scientist or anything, but it takes in the warm air and the moisture from the air. It then uses that to warm up the water, which then circulates around the radiators upstairs, but also on the underfloor heating pipes all over on the ground floor. So that's your hot water and heating all in one go, using just recycled moisture from the air. So obviously that's huge.
And for me, underfloor heating, it's a constant temperature. It's not like it's an on-off system. What I love about underfloor heating is that you set it at an ambient temperature, and it stays there, and it warms the whole house. So the costs on top of having a super efficient carbon zero heat pump. You're not having to run the house at 60 degrees or the water at 60 degrees to keep the house warm, because the floor is radiating up. And I think that will be another cost-saving factor of this house. And I think we did an EPC on this, and I think it's coming out of the estimated running cost of this property is just over £700 a year, compared to if you have running gas and electricity about £1,500. So there's an instant 30% saving a year.
Absolutely.
By having all, so everything you're doing, everything you've done in this property is adding value, not just today, but for the next 10 years. And also with a 10-year warranty on the property. I mean, this house is pretty much, you won't have to do anything at all and save money.
Yeah, absolutely. I think all in all, it's a win-win for everyone. Not only are you using sustainable, future-proof technology, you're also saving a lot of money on bills. And I think gas as a technology will be fading away in the near future anyway. And yes, the government has moved the target to, I think, 2035 possibly. But the fact is, you want to be ahead of that game.
Absolutely. And we want to be saving the money, and also look at not using gas, but also using just one source. Although people go, I only want electricity, but we're going to look at today, ways that you could actually back up this, and even the solar panels and solar power on this property, because the LED and the power this house draws is so low, just from the lights alone, which we're actually today running off a battery pack. We're not actually running the electrics off the main electrics today. It's running off a battery generator to show that how efficient this house can be.
Absolutely, that was the point, and hopefully it's proven that point, and hopefully the person who then ends up living in it would benefit from all of this.
So I've lived in Reading for 10 years. I know Caversham really, really well, and I mean, what I love about Caversham is it's full of independent businesses, and we're seeing more and more of these businesses. Let's have a talk about how close it is to this house, because as much as we have parking for 2 cars, we are 2-minute walk from Waitrose.
Absolutely. 15 minutes from the Reading rail station.
Yeah, and that's the thing, being in Caversham, people don't think about how we're actually closer to the train station than most properties would be in Reading, but also your access to South Oxfordshire is literally the countryside, and the Chiltern Hills on your doorstep. So Caversham's a really popular town. It's full of, say, young families looking to stay in the area, and this house sort of, it ticks all their boxes.
I mean, on a good day, M4 is what, 10, 15 minutes away?
15 minutes,
on a good day with no traffic.
Yeah, no
with traffic, obviously.
Yeah. But I mean, I think Caversham, people who live in Caversham either commute to London, either commute or live in the area here. But yeah.
5 minutes walk to the river?
5 minutes walk to the river. There's a pub, 2-minute walk up the road. There's everything on. There's nothing that you will not need in Caversham.
Absolutely. Independent coffee shops are literally a minute's walk away.
Yeah.
Takeaway restaurants, name it and you've got it. You've run out of a pint of milk in the middle of the night. You can go and get one quickly, right?
Yeah, it's just across the road.
Absolutely.